Welcome to TMZ Live. This weekend is the White House Correspondents' Dinner, so DC is hopping. And our guys are going to be at one of the big parties. It's a new kid in town. They haven't
Just like us.
Just like us. They have not had a party before, but they're having one this year, and it is the Grindr party.
Yes, for those unfamiliar, Grindr is a dating app.
For men.
Primarily or exclusively?
For gay males. It's exclusively.
Exclusively for gay males. And they are having one of many parties that go down surrounding the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We will be attending.
And by the way, we should say that Grindr wants to get political, and they're going to be lobbying in D.C., and they've kind of announced this. So it's not just a lark. They're really going to have a presence in D.C. in a different way that we are, but they're going to be lobbying bills. It turns out to be a super hot ticket. They're already at capacity. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, who's going to the Grindr party?
Going,
and what goes down to the Grindr party?
What are you? It's just a party like any other party before, I would imagine.
I don't know.
I mean,
never had a party before, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will see. So Charlie was out and about today on Capitol Hill and asked Congressman Troy Downing, he's from Montana, and asked him what he was thinking about this party. Will he be attending?
Didn't know much about it. This is pretty funny.
His answer is...
You hear there's also a Grindr party.
Like for sausage? What's a Grindr party?
Well, kind of. Grindr's like a gay app, like for hooking up and stuff like that. They're throwing a correspondence dinner type thing on the Friday. It's
wait. Let me understand this. So you're saying that there's an app doing a correspondence? I don't quite understand. So
yeah, on the Friday.
Are they a media company or?
It's kind of like it's an app,
okay.
Like a dating app,
okay.
Primarily for gay people.
Okay.
And so they're having their own sort of correspondence type dinner on the Friday, the night before. Okay. I found it interesting that DC is doing such events now.
Huh. I don't know what to say about that. What's the question?
The question is, do you think it's going to be fun? What do you think, do you think DC is ready for a Grindr party these days?
I have no idea.
It seems like it might be just as fun as the White House.
Let me understand. So this is just an app company that's doing a correspondent dinner?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Just for like the pride.
Well, I mean, how long have you been in DC? I mean, everything
A week.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, there's so many events for so many different things across the spectrum. I mean, it doesn't surprise me,
You welcome it?
Here, well, to each their own, I probably won't be there.
All right. Well said. You know what it occurred when watching that clip, and it has been so interesting that obviously the point of us going there, we want, one, is for accountability, but two, just for America to get to know their elected officials, right? To actually learn some things about them. What occurred to me here is that we are actually teaching them
We're teaching them stuff, right. No, it's actually really true.
He had no idea about Grindr.
And it's just interesting to hear people's reaction. I know this kind of was an aside thing, but I found it interesting that he said to each his own.
Yeah.
That's a statement. I mean, that's a statement.
Which...
Yeah. It is a statement, and it was just off the cuff.
And you can tell, like, he's a little... he just didn't understand what do you mean.
The beginning was hysterical.
Yeah.
The beginning was
hysterical. His immediate response...
Grindr is, though. Do you think
he's
that was
from
weird?
Montana. Like, what?
Yeah, he doesn't know.
It's probably...
You don't understand.
I thought that was strange.
Popular
You
in
don't
Montana?
understand D.C. That it is a very insular town.
Right.
Where they get so wrapped up in their thing that they don't necessarily know a lot of what goes on in the outside. Oh, not everybody.
Not
everybody,
so well known.
But you got to imagine that Congressman Downing, when he goes back to his constituents in Montana, probably isn't talking all that much about
Grindr,
right? Like he wouldn't have an occasion for it to come up. So
our guys are going, by the way, to the party. They're going to the party. We also asked, by the way,
do we know anybody else who's on the guest list who's been invited?
Do not know. But we also asked a couple of these guys, what is going to happen with journalists? Because Donald Trump is speaking there. And
it's the first time he's going.
First time he's going. And it's really interesting to know, what are they going to do? Are they going to stand up? Or are they going to applaud when they say, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald Trump? A lot of them are going to be wearing these pins that are First Amendment pins.
Right.
which is a sort of a protest. But will they applaud when he walks in?
They will. I think largely they will. I mean,
I don't know whether they will. I think some will.
We should say it's not uncommon for presidents. They normally do go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. It's just that President Trump has chosen not to go previously.
But there's history here. I mean, the history is the relationship he has with the press.
With the media, right.
And you know, especially with CBS and ABC and
even
others.
Even think about it, the correspondents who cover him, it's not uncommon for the president to belittle the reporters for a question. You know, we've seen him tell reporters.
He does all the time.
You're an idiot. Why would you ask that?
But here's the thing.
So what happens now at the dinner?
Here's the thing about Donald Trump. Politics aside, he can be funny. He can be funny.
Oh, yeah.
And in forums like this, it's kind of his thing. And will they laugh? Will they suppress laugh? What?
Will they accept the setting that this is about comedy? Can they separate that night for the dinner, that setting, from their jobs day to day?
I am actually more interested in watching the journalists than I am Trump.
Yeah, because you know what Trump's going to do.
Right.
It's what are the journalists
I mean, will he be funny? And I think that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But then, and is he going to take shots? Which he probably will.
And then if they laugh and they applaud, then they're going to get backlash from other organizations. Like, why were you laughing?
If he tells a Tucker Carlson joke, he'll get a laugh.
That's an easy one.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Softball.
Hey guys, Yessie Smiles here from Miami. And honestly, this is news to me. Politics and Grindr, it kind of makes sense because they both kind of lie and they also are messy. So I think they found their perfect match.
I'm going to be really interested to see how this goes down. I think it's going to be really interesting.
Spencer Pratt is tearing America apart.
Or at least the hills.
He is only running for the mayor of Los Angeles.
Don't say only.
Well, my point is that the people who are pissed off at each other don't even live in LA.
Yeah, they don't live here. They don't got a dog in the fight.
Everyone's got an opinion about this. So Kristen Cavallari, who kind of has a dog in the fight, in that she knows Spencer from their time on the Hills. She's not an LA resident, but she was on Watch What Happens Live and was asked about Spencer's candidacy. And she gave an answer that did not sit very well with Andy Cohen because she dared to invoke the name of Joe Rogan.
Kind of seems like he's going to win.
I think so. I think so.
I
know.
You know, Karen Bass, like, she does not have a lot of people going for her.
I could see him winning.
He's got a lot of momentum.
I think so.
Yeah.
Rogan just endorsed him. I mean.
Oh, Rogan, the great mind
I know.
of the universe. Rogan. An idiot.
Oh my God!
Wow. Seems like Andy's been sitting on that for a while.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is,
Did not
first of
see
all,
that coming.
Neither of them, and there's no reason they would. They don't understand LA politics. And yeah, Karen Bass is unpopular with a lot of people, but she still has a strong base in this city.
Yeah, they don't really
understand it.
They didn't really, I think
Which is fine.
the issues got
Which is fine.
derailed by Andy's ire over Joe Rogan,
but the anger is just like, there's this thing about, you know, you don't like somebody. It's like he's doing Donald Trump, low IQ individual. And it's like, you know, each side scoffs at the other for saying stuff like that, but it's exactly the same thing.
Is there one particular thing that Joe Rogan said or did? I mean, is it just about the president?
He's much more of a conservative guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it goes way beyond Spencer Pratt. He's got issues with the way Joe Rogan, you know, lands on various views, which a lot of people do. But it's sort of that, it's very sophomoric.
It makes you wonder if Kristen, she's almost like a spokesperson for Spencer, because when she was promoting that Laguna Beach reunion, she was on the Today Show talking all about
what did she say, Brendan?
How great he is and all this stuff. I mean, that can influence people, though. Like, stupid people out there.
Oh,
yeah. A reality star is influencing.
How long have I known you? How long have I known you?
Almost 10 years.
Okay, maybe a little longer. I think you're a great guy. That doesn't mean I think you can be mayor.
Well, I definitely couldn't be mayor.
Wait a second.
That doesn't mean
every celebrity we talk about,
mayor.
that person should run for president.
No.
You say that all the time.
I said a select Mark Cuban, yes. I have said that about Mark Cuban, and I'm still saying
You said it about Jake Paul the other day.
I did not.
Yeah, you did.
No.
Babcock.
I said he might
Didn't
win.
he say?
I said he would win.
Didn't he say
I didn't
Jake
say
Paul
it was right.
Yeah.
No, I said he would. I think
You
Jake
said
Paul
Jake
could
Paul
win.
would run.
Huh?
What? What happened?
Autopsy, Celeste.
Okay. All right. All right.
What just happened?
We have we got some breaking news that we have to deal with. Anyway, Andy Cohen and Andy Cohen and Joe Rogan definitely not friends.
Rachel Beasley from Indianapolis chiming in. And I think the one thing that Bravo viewers love about Andy Cohen is that he has the ability to say what everybody else is thinking. I think that LA needs their own Zoran Mamdani. And I just don't think that's going to be Spencer Pratt just to argue with Joe Rogan's side of things.
Yeah, I agree with you that Spencer Pratt definitely would not be a Zoran Mamdani. Whether or not LA needs that or wants that, well, we don't really have a candidate that is like a Mamdani, so it may be Spencer Pratt or Karen Bass. Coming up. Elizabeth Smart's life is already a miracle in ways, and she has now made a new chapter in her life that I would never have seen coming. She is now a professional bodybuilder. Be right back. Elizabeth Smart's life is already a miracle in ways, and she has now made a new chapter in her life that I would never have seen coming. But we all know what Elizabeth Smart looked like, but this is what she looks like.
We should just say,
yes.
in case you forgot, Elizabeth Smart was kidnapped, taken out of her bed, and spent 9 months with her kidnapper who abused her. And everybody thought she had died. And when this remarkable turn came where she was found after America's Most Wanted viewers saw her, everybody thought she will be damaged for life.
She has done the exact opposite, has done remarkable things, and this is the latest. Because if you didn't tell me that this photo was Elizabeth Smart, I would never have guessed it's Elizabeth Smart. She is now a professional bodybuilder.
Amazing.
And she is...
By the way, married, kids.
She posted this image and let everyone know why she is doing this. In part, she said, "My body has carried me through every worst day, every hellish, grueling experience. It's created and nurtured 3 beautiful children, so I refuse to be ashamed of it."
So what I find just fascinating about this, and she, to me, is one of the most fascinating people I've ever read about. And just her resilience is so incredible. But there are so many people in a situation like this where they shy away from publicity, where they are kind of, introverted
and nobody
awkward.
would blame them.
And nobody would blame them.
Say, I totally understand why they're like that.
And by being a professional bodybuilder, she is loud and proud. I mean, she is, on display proudly. And I just think she's so remarkable. She speaks to groups about her experience and helps women. And she's just amazing.
She got into this partly by self-defense, right? That she...
Yeah, there was a story that I guess someone assaulted her or touched her leg on a flight a few years ago. So she got into self-defense training after that. But it's incredible because she said this is her 4th bodybuilding competition. And I just looked up, she won first place in the novice.
Did she really?
For this particular event. And I mean,
she's the female Joseph Baena.
Yeah, kind of.
More impressive.
Yeah, she's, I mean,
not
only all the, stuff, public speaking
genes.
and stuff, but she also has that whole foundation she started that helps sexual assault survivors. And
yeah.
I mean, she's an incredibly impressive woman.
She's unbelievable. She is just, you know what? It's so great when you see all of these dysfunctional celebrities that somebody like her comes along
and says, you know what? I'm not going to allow myself to be the victim anymore, and I'm going to make the most of my life. It's so inspiring.
She's incredible. She's incredible.
Hi, I'm Tara from St. Louis. I think Elizabeth Smart's story is powerful because she has shown her resilience. She's right. Her body carried her through so much trauma. She looks amazing and has done remarkable things with her life. She did not let her trauma define her.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely true.
All right, we got a big story we broke last night about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, the show that was, they had to stop shooting as Taylor Frankie Paul was dealing with all of her legal battles. By the way, Harvey just took off for a moment. He's working on a breaking story, which we're going to tell you all about in just a few minutes. But yes, Taylor Frankie Paul and her castmates are going to be back. We found out last night that they are going to start shooting very shortly. They'll be shooting episodes again. Remember, they were in the middle of shooting season 5 when everything stopped. Now, the one thing is, when they start shooting, Taylor is not going to be part of it, at least not initially.
Not in the beginning. So this was what everyone was kind of wondering, was like, is Taylor going to come back when they pick up filming? And we've heard that, yes, she will eventually make her way back, but not right away. I honestly think that's going to be like great for the show to see kind of how the rest of Mom Talk is doing and kind of dealing with the news.
And also, how would they do
without her?
I think the producers want to see,
Yeah.
just in case things go south with Taylor down the
For
road,
sure.
because let's face it, she's got a track record.
Yeah.
How would this show work, or what would it look like without her?
Not great, I think. I
You
think
think not
she
great?
brings a lot of the drama, a lot of the energy, a lot of the tea to the show that keeps people entertained. But I think kind of withholding her for a little bit might be interesting to see.
I think this is kind of a win-win. The producers get a little
sure.
taste of what is it like without her.
Yeah.
And for her, she gets to kick back and see, all right, let's see what happens. And if the ratings aren't as great or something, then suddenly she comes back and it looks great. Now, another person who will not be involved in, this is not just temporary, we're told Dakota Mortensen will not be part of it, which obviously
that
can't
makes
be
sense.
if...
They have restraining orders against
Right,
each
if
other. I
Taylor's
believe.
going to be part of it, I mean, I guess he could be talking to some of the other cast members, but I think that just stokes a situation that even he has admitted
asking
now
for
is
trouble.
absolutely toxic and will just lead to something bad happening.
Agreed.
And the other thing that's on the line here, it's not just the production of this TV show. Taylor is still on probation until August. And even though she's been cleared and he's been cleared from the February incident, she remains on probation. So if there's another flare-up, who knows what happens? And that would mean jail time for her, not just, oh, you're not on a TV show.
You got to protect your peace.
Kendra James, Marietta, Georgia. And honestly, I think Taylor is owed an apology by you. I'm so excited to hear that she is coming back and is going to be filming and being vulnerable about her healing journey with this Dakota trauma. And I hope Mom Talk finally does rally around her. I think she needs it, and I think she needs that support. And also, ABC needs to release the tapes. We grew up on Jersey Shores. We're going to be fine. And I think Taylor deserves this.
So you're saying you want The Bachelorette to come back now. You want to see the season of The Bachelorette that was wiped away.
I would love to see that. I think that we would get to see a different side of Taylor when she surrounds herself with healthy men, setting boundaries with healthy men. And I think we deserve to see that. And I think Taylor deserves to see herself on that platform as well, too.
We will see. So far, ABC has said it's not coming back, but things can change. Coming up. Well, there is a big change coming to fast food, or at least one restaurant is stepping forward with a new hire that I think is interesting and maybe will catch on with other restaurants. Steak and Shake has just hired its first Chief Maha Officer. So, Michael, welcome to TMZ Live.
Be right back. TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Phoebe Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too. Did you just say, look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at. Well, there is a big change coming to fast food, or at least one restaurant is stepping forward with a new hire that I think is interesting and maybe will catch on with other restaurants, family-style restaurants. Steak and Shake has just hired its first Chief Maha Officer. If you're unfamiliar, Maha is Make America Healthy Again. And they have now brought in someone to help change their menu and make it healthier.
I'm so fascinated to talk to Michael.
So yes, they have brought in the perfect person as their Chief Maha Officer, Michael Bowes, who is a former senior advisor at the Department of Health and Human Services and actually helped develop the new pyramid that was unveiled last year. So Michael, welcome to TMZ Live.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I'm fascinated for a couple of reasons, but the first is just to understand that you never think of fast food as healthy. And RFK Jr. was dragged for having a McDonald's on on Trump's plane. So how do you take what people consider to be fundamentally unhealthy and make it maha?
Yeah, well, I think one, a lot of the food ingredients that we thought to be unhealthy over the years, we've actually found to be healthy, right? So milk, ground beef, I consider myself pretty healthy, and I would say 80% of my diet is around dairy and ground beef. So, look, I think the reality is the food landscape in America drastically changed over the last 30 to 40 years. And with that, the health of Americans have drastically declined, all the while the same restaurants in Europe and other countries, the ingredients just aren't the same. And so Steak and Shake recognized that we needed to get back to nostalgia. We needed to get back to real ingredients where people can actually pronounce them. Go back to what we've had for centuries, which is tallow, potatoes, beef, cheese. So it's definitely a nostalgic play, but I think removing a lot of these chemicals, there's definitely a health component as well.
So Michael, what was your first move in this position? Which menu item did you dig into and say, all right, this is something we can make healthier?
Yeah, so I've just started, so we're evaluating everything. But I'd be remiss to mention that they switched to tallow fries last year, and look, the reality is it's proven that the American consumer wants this. And for them, they saw 10% growth in-store sales year over year, which is kind of unheard of in the restaurant industry. And so I had the privilege of talking to a lot of these industry partners when I was with HHS and really challenged them to make the changes that Steak and Shake is doing today. And a lot of these organizations came back and said, well, our customers aren't demanding it. And we all know there's profit-driven decisions behind that. And so for Steak and Shake to go out on a limb, make the changes that they did with the tallow fries and see an economic impact definitely was...
Can I just want to take a left turn for just a second because of something you said at the beginning, that 80% of what you eat is beef. Help me out here because...
That's the new pyramid, right?
Yeah, I know it's a new pyramid, but I have read for so long that you got to be careful with beef intake because of fat and cholesterol, and that it does create heart disease. And it's the way I've kind of lived my life for the last 15 years or so. And this kind of blows that whole thing up. And I'm more confused than anything.
There were some studies that came out where they looked at the growth of saturated fat and the impact of cholesterol, but there really wasn't a lot of data behind the actual mortality rates. And the reality is now we're seeing studies that come out that show that saturated fat can actually be beneficial for you. I think some Nordic countries, they saw positive associations between saturated fat and longevity. There's impacts on Alzheimer's in the positive standpoint. So look, for me, I think we go on the taste side, and I think Americans want ingredients that are naturally made from animals or from the plants and not processed stuff. But in my own personal life, having a high saturated fat protein diet's been relatively successful for me to reverse a lot of chronic diseases that I had prior to.
If this catches on and it actually improves their sales, do you expect that other restaurants will be looking to hire folks like yourself?
I mean, look, that's the hope, right? I hope Steak and Shake wins in that fight. But the reality is that was a big driver for me in this. To show, look, I think we saw a lot of data internally just around voters and how popular nutrition was. It was really a 90% approval rating, which was some of the highest we've seen. But the fact of the matter is the food landscape, especially in fast food, changed drastically from the 1980s on. And there's really not a good answer on why that occurred, and other than profitability. And so, my hope is that competitors see the change and consumers start demanding it more, and then being in a capitalist economy, investors demand it, et cetera.
Real quick, I've been reading about fast food chains struggling and they're losing business. And and what I've been thinking about is with GLP-1s being so popular and people are now not eating as much and maybe it seems not eating the kind of fast food they used to. it seems like it almost fundamentally has to change if they want to keep market share, because all of a sudden you're looking at a different consumer than you had pre-GLP-1.
You're exactly right. And look, if you look at the Steak and Shake menu today, it's pretty simple. Burgers, shakes, and fries. And burgers is actually ground beef has been growing exponentially because of that GLP-1 market and the need for additional protein. So you're right. The good news for us, I think a lot of the ultra processed foods and those categories have declined pretty steadily, but we're seeing a high growth market in the protein section.
All right.
Oh God! Now
all I'm thinking about is burgers.
I'm crazed. All I'm thinking about is this place called The Window in LA, and I'm just thinking I got to get this today.
Or we do burgers, no bun for 5 days straight. I'm telling you, you'll feel better.
Boy, that's the best diet ever.
All right. Thanks, Doc.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, Michael.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it.
Coming up.
By the way, the reason I ran away from the camera a little bit earlier is we just received the autopsy report from the medical examiner in Celeste Rivas' death, for which David is now charged with her murder. And there are some interesting things, and we talked about this before.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. By the way, the reason I ran away from the camera a little bit earlier is we just received the autopsy report from the medical examiner in Celeste Rivas' death, for which David is now charged with her murder. And there are some interesting things, and we talked about this before, that we knew that the coroner had ruled this, the medical examiner ruled this a homicide, but we didn't know the cause of death. And the DA said they were stabbed, there was some kind of sharp
instrument was used.
Now we know, and what they're saying is there were two wounds in particular, and that they believe, and they use the word may, and the word may is going to be really important, which we'll talk about, that they may be penetrating wounds, which would not be wounds to dismember a body.
Right, because of where they are, they believe, is I think the main, and also
and the way they describe it is they describe two penetrating wounds, one on the abdomen and one on the chest, and they describe them as, they tell you the depth and the length of these, and they say they have smooth edges. Indication seems to me that some sort of knife was plunged into her, and it left smooth edges.
The key is the length of the wounds. One is 3/4 of an inch, one is 9/16. So this size wound as the penetrative wound. These are
which
not,
is an indication of the length of the blade.
And also a blade that could not dismember a body, right? This would not be the same instrument used to dismember the body.
Now, the body was dismembered. They describe all that in detail, but those types of cuts to take the body apart would be different than knife cuts.
Does the report say anything about the dismemberment or what they believe was used?
They don't say what was used.
No, it does describe it in a lot of detail.
But it's gruesome.
Yeah.
So there's a word that's used, may, that it may have been caused by this. The defense is going to jump on that.
Oh, they'll definitely.
Because they're not saying it's conclusive, and it aligns with what we've been hearing, which is they were having a really hard time determining how she died.
Well, look at the passage of time.
As recently as February.
The passage of time to determine this is a long, it's many, many months.
There's also, and it's conflicting, and we still can't quite figure it out, but there are references to finding presumptive positive indications that she had both meth and MDMA in her system.
Although additional screenings showed that to be not detected, but the initial screen said presumptively.
It seems like there were two tests taken, two tox screens. The initial one detected MDMA and methamphetamine. Subsequently, they did a confirmation test, and it was unclear whether there was methamphetamine, but no sign of MDMA at that second confirmation test.
I mean, ultimately, is that going to matter when you get to trial, like whether or not she was
probably
on
not
any drugs?
Well, they may argue. They may argue it was an overdose. I don't know what they're going to argue, but they'll latch onto what they can.
That's true.
But look, I covered the O.J. Simpson case. The coroner was on the stand for 8 days in that case. So this is going to be the centerpiece of the case because, you know, what the DA is saying is, we have evidence she threatened David that she would expose their relationship, probably in a text. That's the way they make it seem. And that she goes to David's house on April 23rd, 2025, never to be seen again.
Right.
So now the question, what happened? So the prosecutor is going to say, he stabbed her to death. And here are these two wounds. And then you're going to have the defense coming out and saying, look, number one, you didn't say conclusively, you're saying may, and this is a reasonable doubt case. Number two, if it was so clear to you, why 4 months in were you still saying undetermined? So this is going to be a huge part of this case.
And also, I would think, maybe they'll say this, that it would get harder to find those wounds the more time passes. Like, they found her body in September, and I'm sure it's refrigerated, but the state of decomposition, I would think it gets harder by March. Now, suddenly, what changed?
I think they're able to freeze it once they find the body. They can freeze it in the state.
But why I don't think that was what they found months later. Those penetrative wounds must have been known to the coroner right from this.
But why did they say we may never be able to determine whether
the body was in very bad state? The insects and so forth are described in there, liquefaction of organs and things of that nature. But the body that you can see in their diagram shows these 2 penetrating wounds, and those are inconsistent with dismemberment.
Well, there'll be pictures. There will be photographs.
There's going to be photographs of everything.
There will be photographs of all of this in the trial. But again, the defense is going to get every correspondence, every inter-office correspondence in the ME's office, and correspondence that goes to either LAPD or DA about what have you found with the cause of death, or the manner of death. And if these correspondents say, we can't figure it out, then the question is, how'd you figure it out? And why would it take you so long to see a penetrating wound?
And they want to see if there's a pressure being applied by other officials to come to a conclusion or things of that nature. That's going to be tough on prosecutors if they're applying pressure.
And we know right from the beginning, Nathan Hochman, the DA, was putting a lot of pressure to find an answer what happened to this girl.
Look, for good reason.
And for good reasons, but that might go to the pressure.
But we don't know. Again, we don't know, and we're not saying anything about what the truth here is. It's just this is going to be the core of this trial. This will be the core of the trial. Well, you know, what we just got, and it's a very thick document and very detailed, and clearly the way it's written, I mean, you can tell this coroner knows that this will be subjected to great scrutiny.
Absolutely.
And I think that's again, I keep going back to that word may, because that's a critical,
the lack of a definitive
critical word.
Lily, NYC. I think that this actually sort of clears things up a bit. It was very confusing, you know, the details around the state of her body. And so actually pointing out wounds sort of gives us something to go on. So definitely the defense will have a lot to say, but I think this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, to be continued. There's a hearing tomorrow on exactly when this preliminary hearing is going to go down.
Coming up,
Katie Holmes and Joshua Jackson, stars of Dawson Creek. They're doing a movie together, and they're posting pictures like that.
So the question that you immediately have is, are they posting these photos to just promote the movie, or are they actually a couple?
be right back.
Okay, there is evidence, more than breadcrumbs, I think, that 2 Dawson Creek stars are an item now.
I mean,
and I'm talking...
There are photos.
Katie Holmes and Joshua Jackson, stars of Dawson Creek. They're doing a movie together, and they're posting pictures like that.
So the question that you immediately have is, are they posting these photos to just promote the movie, or are they actually a couple? So there are some things that makes it seem like it could be a couple.
So people they were posting these, and then people were responding, oh my God, you guys are together, you guys are an item, and Katie keeps liking it. And
she's liking all the comments where people say that you would be a great couple.
That is something, again, it may just be a Sydney Sweeney, Glenn Powell thing. But
maybe, but it seems like she's a little more of like, you know, she's obviously Katie Holmes. She's a seasoned actress. She doesn't really need that, like, PR
you think that
for
she
it. You know what I mean? She
stoop
wouldn't
to
like
that,
them.
we'll say.
Yeah,
Right.
it seems like maybe she's hinting. I mean, why else would you like it? I get like maybe something just being like, oh yay, like back together again, like in those kind of comments.
So-
but if you're saying, oh,
Can I just say, let's say the indelicate thing. Katie Holmes, obviously they have a history, and she's a beautiful woman, but Joshua hasn't typically,
Well, Charles is saying he likes black chicks.
He dated black women, right? He was married to a black woman, and he's dated at least 2 different black women since his divorce.
That's right.
So,
but that doesn't mean, Charles, that
I'm just saying, if we're looking at the big picture about whether they're a real couple or this is just to promote the movie,
right?
You have to look at all the evidence.
You know what you know, but you don't know what you don't.
You got to look at all the evidence.
You don't know what you don't know. And maybe maybe in that ice cream shop, the Baskin Robbins, he's into
different flavors.
Multiple flavors.
Moved on.
I mean, by the way, I think this would be great. I mean, I think this would be great.
I mean, Dawson's Creek fans would be thrilled.
And it's just interesting. You know what? Katie Holmes, remember, when she was a teenager, she would put pictures of Tom Cruise up on her wall, and she almost willed that relationship.
Manifested it?
She did. And so, you know, they've been kind of close over the years. I mean, from what I understand. And that would not, why would that be crazy?
No, it would not be crazy at all. It just, in Hollywood, it's hard to tell. Is it
generally-
real or is it
I generally
promotion?
don't root for this stuff, but I'm kind of rooting for this. I think it would be...
You root for anybody Joshua Jackson's with.
I think Joshua Jackson's great.
My name is Michaela. I'm from Texas, and I just feel like this is so iconic, and I think that Katie should just go back and get her man. Clearly something's going on, or something might happen in the near future, and she's shooting her shot. I'm here for it.
So what you're saying is that this is just an extension of the show, of Dawson's Creek.
So you watched Dawson's Creek?
I watched a little of it.
So they dated on the show. They were a couple on the show?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not know that.
Okay.
Well, good for them.
Fun fact, I once saw Katie Holmes in the backseat of a Kia on Sunset Boulevard at like 9 at night. I'm driving along, and there's Katie Holmes in the back of a Kia.
You know what I love about that? That is one of your stories I've never heard before.
Okay, don't...
Which I didn't think was possible. Thank you, Katie Holmes.
There are plenty,
Thank you,
Charles.
Coming up. Got some big half marathon news, and really you don't care about the half marathon part. The part you care about is the fact that a robot has now set a new record for a half marathon.
Humanity is going to fundamentally change in ways none of us have ever seen.
Be right back.
Got some big half marathon news, and really you don't care about the half marathon part. The part you care about is the fact that a robot has now set a new record for a half marathon. And not even close. I mean, it blew away the human number. So this went down in China, in Beijing. That's the winner.
Oh, gee, I couldn't figure that out. Thank you.
The time for a half marathon. How much,
By the way,
which is what distance?
TMZ colors.
13.3. 50 minutes, 26 seconds the robot took to do 13.1 miles.
And it's not even like panting or vomiting at the end.
Yeah,
I mean, the
did pretty well.
could probably keep going.
Now, here's the scary part. Exactly, did totally fine. The scary part is the record, previous record, the human record, Ugandan runner set this in a half marathon in Lisbon, 57 minutes.
So it beat it by 7 minutes?
7 minutes. That's the parts that's scary, right?
I'm
because
telling
if they
you,
can move,
they're going to
not
take
all
over the
robots
world.
will be able to move this fast.
They may
right?
go faster someday. It could be like an airplane or a car. I mean, seriously.
Can't somebody like trip that thing?
By
the way, there are
your argument of like the robots are going to
They're
take over
taking
the
over the
world.
world.
It doesn't matter
They are
with this. I
taking
don't care how
over-
fast they
What do you
run.
mean it doesn't matter?
This
Really?
is just a robotic
So then you
achievement.
teach.
That's it.
Okay, you say to the
Right,
robot.
and you can put
you
that
say-
robotic achievement in other robots.
You say to the robot,
fine, but-
like the robots in like Burbank, and you say to the robot, kidnap Anakin.
And then
he's
run-
here in
and
3
run
minutes.
with me?
He's here in 3 minutes.
Right.
Before
Oh
anybody
my
can do
God.
anything.
You could do the same thing with a Waymo.
And he could run
No,
through
you
traffic
can't.
on the 405.
No, I'm actually serious. Our humanity is going to fundamentally change in ways none of us have ever seen. The internet is small potatoes compared to AI.
There is
small potatoes.
There's one little glimmer of hope for mankind. This was a different robot warming up.
I know. I was
for the same race.
I was thinking of that robot. I was thinking of that robot.
So
But
know,
look, they carried him away in a stretcher. and they're gonna and they're gonna rebuild him, and then he's gonna win a race.
They gotta get all the parts.
I'm telling you.
They gotta get all the parts.
Hello, my name is Jacques Potts from the east side of Chicago. And last year, the fastest AI robot ran this same exact race in 2 hours and 40 minutes. This year, it beat the human world record. This means that AI is here, but it's not going to take over the soft skills that we have. It can't empathize.
Jaquez, hold on.
Now.
You just blew, you understand what he said last year, the robot did it in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Cut its time in half.
I understand. That's what's happening with AI.
We're dead.
We're
dead.
It's true.
We are cooked.
I mean, I don't know why we go on, but what else you guys want to talk about?
We're cooked.
Hi, I'm Denasia. I'm from Kernersville, North Carolina, and I'm going to be talking about the Grindr DC party that's going on.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very convenient that all of a sudden the government and Trump wants to get involved with Grindr and the CEO after being very public about not liking the LGBTQ plus community along with other communities. I feel like they definitely have something up their sleeve to get them on their good side.
We don't know that.
Yeah, we should be clear. I don't think the president
They're not into this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he will not be at the Grindr party and probably wasn't invited.
Although, what if they tell him it's something totally different?
But that's part of the reason. That would be, wow.
Hysterical. One more.
My name is Jessica Miner. I'm from Grayson, Georgia. I want to talk about the former kidnapping survivor, Elizabeth Smart, becoming a competitive bodybuilder. What better way to rebrand than to get on the stage? She looks fabulous as a mom of 3 and a wife pushing 40. She is definitely an inspiration to me.
She's amazing.
She should be an inspiration to everybody.
Amazing person.
Coming up. We showed you yesterday Drake's big promotion to let everyone know when his new album, Iceman, is coming out, where he had these blocks of ice set up, and then a fan went in there, dug through the ice, found the poster that said the release date is May 15th. Now, Toronto's got this block of ice sitting there, so what do?
Be right back.
All right, before we get out here, we showed you yesterday Drake's big promotion to let everyone know when his new album, Iceman, is coming out, where he had these blocks of ice set up, and then a fan went in there, dug through the ice, found the poster that said the release date is May, I believe, 15th. Anyway, now Toronto's got this block of ice sitting there, so what do? Well, you call in the fire department. I was hoping they'd come with a blowtorch. Instead, Toronto's finest are merely using a hose, probably putting some just regular room temperature water on it, and all that ice is gone, kind of like Harvey. I don't know where he went. What are you doing?
I got to deal with the other show right
now.
now.
I see you opening lunch. You're absolutely up there having lunch. I'm here finishing the show, and you're having lunch.
No, yes, but I.
What is this?
Because I multitask.
Oh, you got potatoes?
No, I'm not going to eat.
Oh, you're not going to eat potatoes. Of course he's not.
What are you, crazy?
All right.
See you tomorrow.